It looks like it's all over for Europe. We have the Dugin assassination, continued fallout from that, and the more I look at that situation and the way the Europeans are refusing to solve their manufactured energy crisis, the only solution here is that Europe just shuts down, particularly Germany. I think I'll talk, well, you know what? I'll talk about Dugin first. The Ruskies have released the FSB, which I think is like the FBI of Russia. They have released their assessment. They believe that the bombing of Alexander Dugin's daughter's car was carried out by two Ukrainian women, a mother and daughter team, that were apparently involved with, what is it, the SBU, I think it is, or SVU, no, I think it's SBU, the Ukrainian equivalent of the KGB. This is the FSB's, lots of acronyms here, I know, please try to follow. I'm having trouble myself. The FSB believes that these women working for the SBU planted this bomb, that they were stalking Dugin's daughter. I guess that means that they were targeting the daughter and not the father. They rented an apartment in the same building that she lives in. And then after the deed was done, they fled to Estonia. Now, is this the truth? Is this really what happened? It's quite possible that's what happened. I think that it's probably the most likely explanation. Does that mean that I know for a fact? No, I have no idea. I've seen no evidence. But it doesn't really matter what the truth is, because this woman who was killed was not exactly a major player like in the Russian government. It's not like they cut off the head of the snake or something like that. It's not like they assassinated, Shoigu or Lavrov or even Putin himself. But what does matter is that the Russian government is accusing the Ukrainian government of carrying out a political assassination on a Russian pundit on Russian soil, actually in the Russian capital in Moscow. And so that accusation carries geopolitical significance. The Russian public will feel emboldened by this. They will be more supportive on net of the war, I believe. And from what I understand, the war was already pretty popular in Russia to begin with. War tends to be popular here in the United States, too, when we're winning. In America's case, that second part has been pretty difficult for us. And you know what? The Ruskies, maybe in a couple of years, they might get bogged down and have domestic problems, down the line, with their newly acquired Ukrainian territories. But that doesn't matter right now. For now, they are gaining ground. They're advancing on the enemy. The Uknats are on the run. And so if one thing is true, I will say that the Ruskies at this point will never bow down, get on their knees, and beg the Western Europeans for forgiveness. No, I think that they feel emboldened, they feel righteous, and they feel that they have been wronged. And they will go about righting those wrongs. But the Europeans, on the other hand, what do they plan on doing? I think in the case of the major states of the EU, particularly Germany, as well as Britain, although Britain is no longer in the EU, but let's focus on Germany. They are pursuing a policy of total de-Russification of the European energy supply. They are doing their level best to shut off all remaining supplies of Russian energy to the West, while at the same time shutting down their nuclear power plants and ostensibly shutting down their coal-fired power plants, although it does appear that there are some coal-fired power plants that are being turned back on. That is kind of the one of the advantages of coal-fired power plants. You can turn them on or off. But the Greens surely will have that shut off in short order as well. And even with some coal plants, and I mean a minute amount, coming back online, they are still going full steam ahead with abandoning nuclear energy, shutting down their existing nuclear power plants, while at the same time they're giving up all of the Russian energy, and they have no way of supplanting that Russian energy. The American liquefied natural gas is understood at this point, will not be able to replace that. Other people were saying that from the beginning. I was echoing those statements. They seemed to I thought they made good arguments. That seems to have panned out well. Nobody really considers American LNG as a realistic replacement for a natural gas from Russia. The solution now for Germany, but really Europe more broadly, is simply to use less electricity. They're going to shut down their societies. They're not going to have enough power to make it through each and every week. And so, at this point, I predict they're just going to shorten their work week for one thing. Maybe instead of working 5 days a week, they'll work 4, maybe even 3. If it gets bad enough, down to 2 days. I think that they will also be just doing selective brownouts throughout the day. Or is it called a brownout or a blackout? I forget it. But they're going to turn off different people's power throughout the day. You're going to have, like your window where your power works, where the where the lights come on, and you're able to use electricity in Germany. And then, the other part of the day, you're not going to have any power. They're already talking about just not bathing anymore, not taking any showers or baths. What they expect you to do instead is use a washcloth. That's what the German Green Party is prescribing to its voters. That's how they get through these tough times. When the Green Party and their allies are systematically dismantling the German electrical grid, they expect people to go out into rivers and streams with a washcloth and pat themselves down. I've said it before, and now it's becoming very, very real. There's a direct correlation between economic output, i.e. production of goods, and energy output. If Europe has less energy, their economy will shrink. They will produce less goods, and they will be poorer. That is the only possible outcome at this point. Europeans will be impoverished, much more so than us Americans even. And I think Germany is going to be ground zero. I think Germany will serve as the Great Reset's showcase state. It will be a world without fossil fuels. That's what they're building in Germany. A world where people don't have lights on in their house, where they don't have running water, where they wash themselves with a cloth. And maybe then the tide will begin to turn over here. Maybe we'll be able to save ourselves after witnessing Europe's despair. After seeing the new dark age that they're about to enter. And that's really what the Great Reset going green era will be. It's going to be a dark age for Western society. And I say only for Western society because I think that the peoples of the East have made it clear that they're not dumb enough to go along with it. The Chinese won't, the Indians won't, the Russians won't. And those three civilizations, who represent a significant portion of the global population, will be enough to keep the flame of civilization lit. And in their success in life, they will be fruitful, and their way of living will spread across the globe. Countries in Africa and South Central America, Southeast Asia, they're not going to look to countries like Germany, Britain, or if we go down that path, the United States. They're going to look to the successful countries. They're going to look to the countries that are wealthy, the ones where people are well fed, the ones where people have reliable electricity, the ones where people have reliable and inexpensive transportation. You see, the West will not be, well, they won't be able to play around the world. We won't be able to be, playing empire, because we'll be fighting just to keep our own people fed. We won't have the surplus resources to corrupt all of these other lands. We are at the precipice of an organized decline, of an organized collapse of civilization that I can't compare to anything that I know of in human history. When has a society's elite class actively sought the destruction of their entire civilization? Not by accident, not through just mismanagement, but through an active will to destroy and to impoverish their own people. And to my knowledge, these aren't Manchurian candidates even doing this. These aren't agents of Russia or China trying to destroy America and the West. These are domestic Western elites who hate everything that has given us everything that we have. All I can say is that I firmly hope and I believe that they will be unsuccessful in this venture. I think that things have to get worse before they get better, but I think that these evil forces will lose power before they are completely successful. We will be able to reverse this eventually once people reject the Great Green Grift, and once people throw off the yoke of the World Economic Forum and all of its ilk. But in order to wake people up, there's going to have to be a lot more pain, sadly. And I don't think that pain will be limited just to Europe. I think it will be most intense in Europe, and so hopefully that will save us Americans some grief, some pain, but it won't completely save us. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow, although the day after that, I will be gone for the rest of the week. I will be out of town, but I will be back next Monday. So, I will see you all then.